Hi guys! Today I'm going to make one of the most requested recipes on the channel, which is chicken biryani. This is the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Get Curried. There are 3 steps to making the chicken biryani. Let's begin with the first one, which is making the chicken. For that, I'm taking some oil in a pan and I'm going to heat this on moderate flame. Along with this, I'm going to add in some ghee. Once the ghee and oil get moderately hot, I'll be adding in the garam masala. And after that, the peeled potatoes. We'll let the potatoes cook till they are nice and golden brown. And in the interim, I'm going to start marinating the chicken. For that, I'm going to take some yogurt along with ginger garlic paste, some salt, some turmeric powder, red chili powder, fried onions, and tomatoes. Mix this nicely. This is done and ready. Keep checking on the potatoes. Chicken goes in. Give it a nice mix. Once this is seared and ready, I'm going to add in a little bit of water. Give it a stir. I'm now going to cover this and cook it on medium flame till it's done. I'm going to move this to the flame right next here. And in the interim, let's start making the rice. For which I'm going to take some ghee in a pan along with a little bit of oil. Once the oil heats up, I'm going to add in some garam masala. I'm going to lower the flame and add in water. I'm going to add in some salt. I'll wait for the water to come to a roll boil. In the interim, what I've done here is I have washed and soaked long grain basmati rice. I've just soaked it for somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes, and that's more than enough time required to soak the rice. The water's come to a roll boil. I'm adding in the rice very carefully. Give it a light stir and continue cooking this on high flame. Let's check for the doneness of the rice. Well, it's almost 3/4 done. Time is now to put the flame off. I'm going to drain this rice. So I've got a colander right here in which I'm going to drain this. The rice is drained and ready. Let me check for the chicken now. Well, that's almost done. Just giving it a mix. Now that the chicken is almost done, I'm placing in 2 boiled eggs. And after this goes in the drained rice. The trick to a good fluffy biryani is you should not press the rice. Always move the rice like this and make sure it gets nice and even. On goes the lid, and you can place this on high flame for exactly 8 minutes and then on low flame for 2 minutes, and that's when a beautiful biryani will get ready. Let's check if the biryani is done. Here you have it, ready. Off goes the flame. Now let's begin the plating. Finally, I'm going to garnish this with some fried onions along with fresh mint and fresh coriander. A beautiful chicken biryani is ready. Simple, isn't it? Do try it at home and do let us know how you like it, and wait for what next. The Bombay chef gets into your kitchen.
Hello and welcome to Masala Trails with me Smita Dev on Get Curried. Today I'm going to talk about Tausif Bhai. He's my neighbor's cook who makes the most amazing biryani and mutton chop and feeds us generously during Eid. Once while I was cooking for a party and he came up to borrow a lemon and he was so excited to see me just going at it, So he got into this teaching mode and he decided to teach me his signature dish, the Hyderabadi mutton biryani, which was thoroughly appreciated by everybody. And so today I thought, let me teach you also how to make the Hyderabadi mutton biryani. So for this biryani, first we'll marinate our mutton. For that I've taken 1 kg mutton and I'm going to grind some ginger, garlic and green chilies, make a nice paste and apply it to the mutton. So let's grind this to a fine paste now. You can add some water. Our ginger, garlic and green chili paste is ready. Let me keep this aside and then we can grind the other ingredients. I've got some fried onions here. In the recipe, I have explained how to fry onions nice and golden. Please go on that and check how to fry your onions golden. So now these onions, which I have taken about 7 of them, I have fried them nice and golden crisp. Now I have to make a paste of them. I'm going to leave a few of them just for garnish. You can add some water and grind to a fine paste. Yeah, our onion paste is done. This is how fine it should be. Now let's marinate the meat. First with the ginger, garlic and green chili paste. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of yogurt or curd. Half teaspoon of turmeric powder and 2 tablespoons of chili powder. I'm going to add some coriander, finely chopped coriander, fresh mint leaves. We still have a couple of ingredients to put in this. I'm going to make a nice fresh garam masala powder with some green cardamoms, black cardamoms, pepper, cloves, cinnamon and some black cumin seeds. This is done. Now let's add this to the meat. Let's squeeze in some lemon juice. And some salt. Let's rub all these masalas well to the mutton and we'll use our hands for this. After mixing this a bit, you can add your onion paste. Mix this nicely. There are 2 ways of cooking this mutton gravy. Either you can put it in a heavy based large bottom pan or you can just put it in the pressure cooker, which is a quick and easy method. And today I'm going to put it in a pressure cooker. Very little water. You need to pressure cook this mutton for about 3 whistles and then on a low flame for 20 minutes. For the rice, I've kept some water to boil. I'm going to add my whole spices to this. Bay leaves, cinnamon, green cardamoms and cloves. Salt. I've taken about 3 liters of water, so I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. For 1 kg of mutton, I have taken half a kg of long grain rice. You can use basmati rice also. And now our water is boiling. We can add the rice to this water. I have soaked this rice for 15 minutes. You need to cook this rice till it is 3/4 done, which takes about 10 to 12 minutes. Making biryani is indeed a time-consuming process, but the end result is fabulous. It's almost 10 minutes. Let's check the rice. It's almost done. So let's now drain off the water. After the water is drained, we need to cool the rice. We'll cool this rice in a large dish so that it cools quickly. This pressure cooker has cooled down. Just let's see if the meat is cooked. Yeah, our mutton is cooked. It's nice and tender. Now I'm going to smear some ghee on a heavy bottom broad based pan. And now I'm going to layer it with half the quantity of this rice. And now the mutton gravy. I'm going to put some fried potatoes in this. I just took the potato, chopped it into two and fried it. I'm going to place them around everywhere and I'm going to put in a layer of the remaining rice. And now for the final touches. I've soaked some saffron strands in some warm milk, which I'm going to pour now on this rice. This gives our biryani a nice fresh yellow color. Now I'm going to add some ghee. I'm going to sprinkle some mint leaves, some coriander leaves, the remaining fried onions, and now I'm going to cook this on a dum. So for that I'm taking some chapati dough and I'm going to put it on the edges of this pan of mine. This basically helps to keep the steam inside the container so that everything gets evenly cooked. And I'm going to seal this pan. Just cover it and now on a very low flame, cook it for 20 minutes. We had kept the biryani on a dum for 25 minutes and our biryani is ready to be eaten now. So I'm going to switch off the flame and just remove the lid very carefully. And now let's serve this biryani. You can see the beautiful colors that are coming out. I'm sure you're going to enjoy cooking this dish and feeding it to everybody. Do try this dish at home and give me your feedback. Keep watching Masala Trails with Smita Dev on Get Curried.
Hello everyone, this is the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar and welcome to Get Curried. Well, I bring world cuisine to your kitchen. Today it's Kashmiri Yakhni Pulao. So Yakhni Pulao for the uninitiated is basically a meat pulao from Kashmir. The first thing I do is start prepping the meat, for which I'm taking half an onion and I'm actually slicing it. So I'm slicing it really very thinly. Well, the next that I'm using is some sliced ginger. So I'm just cutting it really very finely, something like this. Well, you can also bash it up. You can also put in some paste if you wish, but I prefer the bite that this gives to the pulao. Next, what I'm doing is I have some beautiful meat here. I'm adding in a little bit of salt to it. Here it goes, giving it a light mix. And this goes straight in the pressure pan. Now, basically, I'm using a pressure pan so that things just kind of hasten up. But nevertheless, you can put it in a pan, put some water and keep it to boil. I'm putting in the onion and ginger. Next, I'm adding in like a cup full of water. Here it goes. And finally, this goes under pressure, 4 whistles. We'll begin with 4. Let's wait for that. Let's wait and watch. Let's begin with prepping the vegetables. Well, in the original recipe of Yakhni Pulao, you do not have vegetables because it's a very dominant meat recipe. But I love vegetables. So I have some peeled carrots here. I have some peas which I have shelled and kept here. So they're right here. Well, I'm also using in some potatoes with the skin on. Well, the choice is yours. You can peel it and use. But I love using potatoes with the skin because it just adds into the nutrients. So here we are ready. Now it's been a few whistles. I'm just moving the meat aside. I'll be opening it once the pressure has settled. In the interim, let's begin with the rice. So here I go. A little bit of oil in this pan. The first thing that goes in is a big pinch of garam masala. If you notice, I'm not using whole spices because whole spices unnecessarily change the mouthfeel. I'm adding in all the vegetables, peas, carrots, potatoes, a few spoons of beaten curds, and I'm just giving it like a quick mix. So while this is cooking, let's quickly check the meat. There it goes. The pressure is also settled. Here comes the meat. Well, if you see these beautiful chunks of meat, they're almost done. So now all of this goes in the vegetables. Make sure you scrape in all the onions and ginger. A nice stir. Now that the meat has gone in, what is actually ready is another beautiful Kashmiri recipe called a Yakhni. So a little bit of salt and the beautiful Yakhni is ready. And then we move on to Yakhni Pulao. Make sure you add in less salt because you've already added salt in the recipe. So here it goes. I'm quickly going to taste for salt. Just perfect. Now what goes in is the rice. I have some beautiful long grain rice here, which I have soaked for some 20-25 minutes in cold water. A gentle stir here, making sure the rice grains do not break. And as soon as that's done, we put it on high flame till the water almost evaporates, and then we shall cover it. Now that you see the water is almost evaporated, now let's cover this and cook it for 10 minutes on very, very, very low flame. So here it goes, let it cook. Well, I think it's done. Let's put it off. Let's check this. So now that this is done, I'm just adding in a little bit of mint. So I have some fresh mint growing right here in my kitchen. So here is this beautiful mutton pulao ready. And now wait for what next the Bombay chef gets into your kitchen.
Egg biryani. It is such an underrated dish in the world of biryanis, which is really sad because it's so tasty, it's so easy to make, and it's such a cheaper version than making maybe mutton biryani or chicken biryani. So that is what I'm going to do today. This is a dish that you could do easily to impress your guests when you have a big party, but don't want to spend a lot of money either. So let's just get started. First, I'm going to add 2 heaped teaspoons of ghee. Just let it heat up. Another teaspoon of cumin seeds. Once the cumin is done, I'm going to add 2 pieces of cinnamon, about 3 pieces of cardamom, 4 to 5 pieces of cloves, and about 2 to 3 bay leaves. Now I'm going to add about 10 pieces of broken cashews. You just want to slightly brown them.
Now I'm going to add a teaspoon and a half of ginger garlic paste. Two to three medium-sized onions, thinly sliced. And about 4 to 5 green chilies, sliced again. I'm going to put a handful of coriander leaves, another handful of mint leaves, two tomatoes thinly sliced, now I'm going to add my spices to this. So to start with, some salt to taste, some turmeric, just like about half a teaspoon, a teaspoon and a half of chili powder, another teaspoon of cumin powder, a pinch of garam masala. Mix it up really well. Some recipes also use capsicum in the biryani, and if you like that, you could just thinly slice it and add it at this point into the masala. Now to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of heaped yogurt. Just make sure your stove is at a low flame at this point and mix it up really well. Okay. Now I'm just going to switch off this pot and keep it aside for 5 minutes. Now I'm just going to take a shallow pan and just saute my rice a little in this to give it a little bit of that extra zing. So just add another 2 spoons of ghee. I have taken 2 cups of rice. I had already soaked my rice for about 30 minutes. You could do the same because it just makes it a faster cooking time. So while you're prepping up, you could do this. You can entirely skip this step, but I prefer doing this because I feel like it adds a little bit extra. But in case you're choosing to not do this, you can just add the rice directly into the pot, the soaked rice, and add a little ghee to that. Now just switch it off and put it into your original pot. Now just mix it up well. I've got about 4 cups of water here because I've taken 2 cups of rice. You can adjust according to what rice and water you're using, etc. I've used simple basmati rice today. Just give it a good mix, cover it up and put it on a low flame. Now you can take a good 10-minute break. Just keep coming back and checking on it to make sure that there is enough water and the rice is cooking just fine. It smells really nice. Now I'm going to add my other ingredients. I'm just going to add some fried onions, not my entire lot. I've just pan fried the onions. You can also deep fry it as well, whatever you like doing. I'm going to add some finely chopped mint and some finely chopped coriander. I've got about 7 to 8 strands of saffron that I've already put in a little bit of milk just to get that color out as well. Just going to add that in. Now we're going to mix it up really well. To stir it up, my rice is not entirely done. It's about 90% done, but that's okay because I'm going to close it up and keep it to the side and get on to my final step with the eggs. I'm just going to add some more ghee, just very little for this. You can also use oil alternatively at this step. Now I've got 2 beaten eggs over here. I'm going to add it into the pan. To this I'm going to add some chili powder, just very little, and some salt. Mix it up well. We want to scramble this. To this I'm just going to take 2 boiled eggs, just slit them thinly. Now I'm just going to add it to my rice mix. So I hope you enjoyed my version of the egg biryani. Just make sure that you're not stirring around the rice too much and save some fried onions for garnishing. Also, if you're serving a few hours later, just keep some boiled eggs aside so that you can do the egg mixture right at the end before you serve it. It also looks much more prettier. I hope you will like our video, share our video and also subscribe to our channel.
Pulaus or pilavs across the globe are considered to be one-pot meals. But the one that I'm making today is a little lengthy, a little tedious, but trust me, it's worth every second. What I'm referring to is a zeresh pulao or a berry pulao. So let's begin. This pulao is made of 3 to 4 components. Let's begin with the first one, which is getting the chicken right. For this, I'm heating a pan. To this, I'm adding some ghee or clarified butter. Once the ghee heats up, I'll add in some sliced onions. And to make sure these cook faster, just a little bit of salt. Once these onion turns a little translucent, I'll be adding in half a chicken. Now this chicken has just been given a few slits so that the masala steeps straight in. This goes in the pan. I'm just going to turn this around a little so it starts getting a little scotch marks here and there. Well, I'm using a larger piece of chicken because that's how traditionally it's cooked. Well, if you're comfortable with cut pieces, please feel free to do so. Well, simultaneously, I've also put some water here to heat to cook the rice. I'm taking some from that and adding it to the chicken so that the chicken starts cooking faster. I'm going to cover this and make sure this cooks on low flame for 15 to 20 minutes or till it's well done. While the chicken is getting cooked, I've just moved it aside, and in this bubbling water, I'll be adding in long-grained rice which I've washed and soaked for at least 20 minutes. This straight goes in the bubbling water. A quick stir, and to this, just a little salt. This rice has been cooking for 10 minutes on high flame. It's 3/4 cooked. Let's drain this now. The rice is drained and ready. Let's start cooking it further. For this, in a deep bowl, let's take some ghee or clarified butter. The first thing that goes in are sliced potatoes. The potatoes forming the first layer. The next thing that goes on top is the parboiled rice. I'm going to cover this with a lid and allow this to cook on medium flame for half an hour. While the rice and chicken are both individually getting cooked, let's move on to the heart of this recipe, which is adviye, an Iranian spice mix. For this, in a grinder, the first thing that I'm taking is nutmeg. I'm just going to roughly give this a few cuts, and this goes straight in the grinder. The next spice is untoasted cumin seeds, some untoasted coriander seeds, followed by cinnamon stick, green cardamom, a pinch of saffron. The star of this spice mix, which are Iranian rosebuds. These are dried rosebuds. I'm just removing the stalk and making sure I only take the petals. To this, finally, a little bit of sugar. I'm going to grind this into a fine powder. I'm going to transfer the adviye spice mix in a clean bowl. The chicken has simultaneously cooked. And to this, let's add in a few spoonfuls of this mix. Let's mix this nicely and make sure the chicken is also turned over this time. The chicken gets nicely tossed in this. The chicken has completely cooked. It's been 30 minutes. Let me transfer this onto a plate and reserve it till further use. The chicken is cooked and ready, so has the rice. Off goes the flame, and let's now move on to the residual gravy which is still in the pan. I'm adding in tomato puree along with a little bit of water just to adjust the consistency of the gravy, sugar, and salt, which is as required. Give this a mix and allow this to cook till the raw taste of the tomato has completely gone away. Most components of the zeresh pulao or the berry pulao are ready, but the final one is yet to come, which is the kofta. It's a chicken kofta for which I've taken chicken mince. To this, I'm adding some salt, yolk of an egg, and finally, adve. Mix this nicely. The chicken mince is ready and the oil is also heated up. In another bowl, I'm taking some egg white and giving this a light whisk. Just make sure while doing this, the egg white just kind of starts frothing up. I'm dipping my fingers in a little bit of water, applying a little on my palm as well, and just make small marble-sized balls. Give this a nice roll, something like this. Dip this into the egg whites and put these to fry. Continue doing this till the entire mixture is used up. Stir this gently and make sure this is cooked through and through. This can take anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. These are fried and ready. I'm transferring these onto an absorbent kitchen paper. Two quick components for the final garnish. Let's begin with the first one, which is sweet saffron water. For this, some water goes in a pan, some sugar, along with strands of Iranian saffron. Well, if you cannot lay your hands on Iranian saffron, saffron from any part of the world would also work well. A quick stir and just make sure the sugar dissolves completely. Once that happens, off goes the flame. This is ready. I'm transferring this into another bowl, and in the same pan, let's start tossing the last few ingredients. To this, some blanched and peeled pistachios. Well, if you can get the Iranian ones, nothing like it. To this, some cranberries. Well, the original recipe calls for zeresh berries, which are also known as barberries. A little difficult to source, but if you can lay your hands, that's about it. Some ghee or clarified butter, fried onions, and the koftas. A quick toss, followed by some rose water and a little bit of the sweet saffron water. Let's now move on to the final assembly. For the final assembly, I'm adding the sweet saffron water into the rice. Next, top in with some koftas, along with the pan-fried barberries, cranberries, fried onion, pistachios, ghee, and some sweet saffron water. The piece of pan-fried chicken, topped with the tomato gravy. And this berry pulao is served with something called tahdig, which is the scorched rice and potato, which is here at the bottom. So didn't I tell you, this berry pulao is worth every second of effort. Enjoy this and wait for what next the Bombay chef gets into your kitchen.